Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason. I'm speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And today I'm doing a video on ranking the best picture winners of the 2010s. Taking each best picture winner of every year and making a top 10, not top 10, but just ranking those 10 movies that won. This is an idea I got actually from watching a channel that I watch called Rich Strickler. He does a channel on movies and music. He does a lot of decade stuff, and has like a panel with two other guys usually, or three, that go over the best movies of that decade. And they last one they did this from the 1970s. They ranked the best pictures of the 1970s from 10 to 1. I thought it was such a great idea, so I'm stealing it from Rich. So I hope that's okay, Rich. But I love the idea so much because I've seen every single Best Picture winner from 1929 to present day. Um, anyway, so I love watching, kind of keeping track of the Best Picture winner, seeing if they truly are the Best Picture, which usually they aren't. But it's interesting to see what the at least Academy thinks is the best movie of that year. Anyway, so starting with the decade of 2010s, and I'm gonna move myself down on other videos to other decades. But so let's go with number 10. I think the worst movie that won Best Picture of the 2010s is a movie called The Artist that came out in 2011. The Artist, I've heard comedians say The Artist is the best silent film of the last decade, as a joke, because it's probably the only silent film that came out in the last decade. There's a reason why we don't watch silent films anymore. They're incredibly boring. Dialogue makes movies interesting. Sound makes movies much more interesting. That's why once they came up with sound in 1927 with the jazz singer, with just a little bit of sound, it exploded the sound and the idea of having sound in movies. To they still had silent films, and sometime in the 1930s, maybe Charlie Chaplin was still doing some silent films up till 1940 or so. But pretty much all silent films went out of date, and everything was sound. Anyway, so coming to The Artist, I don't understand how this won Best Picture. It is just a boring movie. I saw it in the movie theater, and it was a silent film, so it was so strange watching it. And you can hear people eating popcorn and messing with their snacks and drinks, and it was very odd. And it was really just a not a very original story. Kind of following like the Star is Born kind of thing, of like a silent actor who then this actress or this girl who wants to be an actress kind of meets him, and he helps her get into the movie industry, and then she becomes a star, and his star starts fading, and he's no longer a big star, and he's losing money and getting depressed. Anyways, it's not an original idea for a movie. And the fact that it was all silent made it even more boring of a movie. The only idea I think that won Best Picture was because it was about the movie industry, especially the golden age, the silent era. And Academy, which are movie making people, loved the idea of a movie about movie making. So it was kind of this ego trip for the Academy to make it Best Picture. Anyway, so The Artist, number 10 on my list. Number 9 is the movie Parasite, which is a fairly new Best Picture winner, the last one of the decade actually. Won in 2019. Is of course well known being the first Korean movie to win Best Picture, and probably I think the first foreign film to win Best Picture, from what I know. The whole movie's in Korean. Anyways, and director and actresses, whatever, everything's Korean. Story, anyways, and everybody loved this movie, but it's another one which I did not get at all. Like, was it a comedy? Was it a drama? Was a murder mystery at one point. I didn't quite. It wasn't funny enough to be a comedy. The drama wasn't interesting enough to be like an interesting drama, And there's these twists, these movie twists in the movie, by maybe halfway or 3/4 of the way through the movie's going one direction, and then all of a sudden there's this plot twist that hits you out of nowhere, and you're like, what is going on? And and it just leaves you kind of like confused for the rest of the story, of like, okay, I did not think the story was going this way, and it did not help the film for me. It just made it kind of strange. And then the ending was not very satisfactory. It was kind of a, yeah, not a very good ending to me. Not a happy ending at all. Anyway, so yeah, I really did not like Parasite, and that's number 9 on my list of best pictures. Number 8 is a movie called Moonlight, won 2016. If you know Moonlight, it's about kind of growing up with this kid in, I think, Miami. He's a black kid, lives with a single mom who's a drug addict, and they're very poor, and he gets bullied at school. And it kind of covers his life from 3 different eras of his life, from being real young to being like teenager, and then being his 20s, I suppose, and kind of seeing how he has evolved over the decades of living in such a terrible life. He eventually becomes a drug dealer himself, even though that's the thing he hated most, because his mom was a drug addict. His mom was terrible to him. He had a terrible childhood. Like I said, got bullied terribly, got betrayed by his best friend at one point. I mean, it was really terrible what goes on in this movie. Performance-wise, decent. I think the actor who played the main character in the third era, when he was in his 20s, I thought did a really good job. And of course, the mother did a good job as a drug addict. And there's almost a satisfactory part of the movie where he kind of reconciles with his mom. His mom is getting help and all that. Like, that was an interesting storyline, I would say. Storyline with him and his friend, I didn't quite understand what was going on there. Kind of hints that he's gay. There's one scene where he kisses the guy, and I guess he's gay, but that's like the only scene you see. And I didn't feel any other hints that he was gay except for that one part. And his friend, who seems not gay at all, for some reason had that moment too. And I don't know, I didn't quite understand what was going on there in that relationship. And at the end, they kind of meet together again, and it just kind of ends, and it was kind of a weird ending to me. I didn't quite get that everything. I guess he was trying to, I don't know how to say it, but with his best friend, they had a falling out, and so he's trying to, have a real, sentimental talk with him about, what happened to them as kids. Anyways, so, but yeah, I don't know. It was just not interesting to me, the story-wise, I guess. And I hate the fact that he got bullied, and I hate all that. And it was just not a very happy movie at all, I guess. It left me kind of depressed, in a sense. Yeah. So Moonlight just didn't do anything for me. That's why I have it number 8 on my list. The only good thing about Moonlight, I think, is that I beat La La Land, which I thought was actually pretty cool. One of the great Oscar moments I've ever seen. Because I remember I was watching at my parents' house. I think I was watching it because I wasn't at home, I don't believe. I was somewhere else, and I was watching it. Maybe I was at work watching it. I might have been at work, and it was on TV, and so I was kind of watching it. And La La Land was winning everything, Golden Globes and everything up to that point. So it just seemed like La La Land, and I didn't like La La Land either. I didn't think it was a very good movie. But you just knew La La Land was going to win Best Picture, even won Best Director, I believe, and Best Actress and for Emma Stone. And I remember I got home, and it was still going on, and I had it on the TV, and it was going to Best Picture, the very last one. But I was like so disinterested with the Oscars, I think, that I got up to the kitchen to do something. I don't know if I was making myself a snack or I was doing something in the kitchen, and they were announcing the winner. And it was, or actually, I think I was watching it, and they announced the winner was La La Land, I believe. And so I went to the kitchen, whatever I was doing, and all of a sudden I hear, nope, we didn't win. And I was like, what? And I poked my head around the kitchen, like, what's going on? And it turns out that they gave La La Land the wrong winner, and then Moonlight really won. And then the Moonlight, La La Land people had to get off. Moonlight people had come on. It's very confusion. And that was such a great moment for Oscars, just to watch that epic failure that they had there. Anyway, so that's the one good thing I'll say about Moonlight, is really enjoyed that moment. Anyway, so number 7 on my list is The Shape of Water. Came out, won Best Picture in 2017. Another movie that I didn't quite get why people liked it so much. Performances are pretty good. I would say I enjoy most of the performances. Especially the main actress. I'm forgetting her name on top of my mind, but I thought she was really good. But the story of these women that work in a government facility that captures this half man, not half man, but it's like this fish man. He's like a fish, part man kind of creature, and she falls in love with the creature, saves him, gets him out of the facility. Then then the government is going after her to get him back again. She's gonna free him, and all this, and it's this love story between her and this fish man, and they even have a sex scene in it, and that just ruined the whole movie for me. And I think the whole joke is like, it's a movie where she sleeps with a fish man. It's just ridiculous idea. Like, why would a woman? How would that be possible? This two species would not be possible, I don't think. And the idea that she would fall in love with this gruesome fish man, like, I don't know, it didn't make any sense to me, and just kind of ruined the whole thing. And I was just like, it's kind of gross, and I don't know, I just it's like, I did not care for that storyline at all. Anyways, so that's why it's at number 7, Shape of Water. As you see, I don't really like any of these movies so far. I'll tell you when I get some at least better movies here. I guess the next one will be, I'll say, will go on from bad to okay. Not great, but okay movies. Number 6, I have Argo. Won Best Picture 2012. The Ben Affleck directed and starred in movie. Real life story about the hostage crisis, the Iran hostages, and some of them escaped the embassy before they got captured, and went to a Canadian ambassador's house, and he housed them, trying to figure out, and of course the FBI or CIA is trying to figure a way to get them out of Iran safely. Anyways, so it's a really interesting true story. I mean, I read the book too. After I watched the movie, I had to read the book, because I mean, that's such an interesting story idea. I mean, it's a real life thing that happened, that you're like, I can't believe that really happened. So I enjoyed that aspect of it for sure. Yeah, overall it was an okay movie. Like I said, great storyline. It was just okay, I would say. It didn't wow me necessarily as a dramatic movie. It had some good comedic moments. I'm forgetting his name, but one of the actors who got nominated for Best Supporting Actor I thought was really good. John Goodman was good. I think he should have been nominated too. I think he did a real good job. Overall, though, I watched the movie with my dad, I remember, because I thought this was going to be an Oscar type movie. You could kind of tell, and which it was. And so I went and saw it with my dad, and I remember after the movie, just me and my dad turning to each other and going, yeah, that was okay. Like, it's not a Best Picture winner, but it was okay. Like, I was wrong. It was a Best Picture winner. Kind of surprised me, but yeah, it was a decent movie, Argo. I put it number 6 on my list here. Number 5, I'm going to put The King's Speech from 2010, the first movie of the decade. Another movie I would say it was okay. I didn't totally love it. The climatic, it's about the King George, who had a speech impediment. He stuttered, and he becomes king, and so he hires a speech therapist basically to help him with his stuttering, because he's gonna have to speak in front of crowds or speak on the radio, and you don't want a king that's stuttering. Doesn't exactly look good. Of course, and then they're entering World War II, so he has to give this big speech about that. Anyways, and that's the ending, is him giving this speech about World War II. So it's a not very exciting climatic moment, just watching a guy give a speech and not stuttering. That's the whole, I guess, exciting thing, is he didn't stutter. That's exciting. Not really. So I felt like it was never that great. The performances are excellent, though. What makes this so good, again, I didn't prepare, so I'm forgetting the name of actors, but I know Jeffrey Rush, nominated for Supporting Actor, really good. Main actor won Best Actor, which was very deserving. Gave a really great performance as King George and doing the whole stuttering thing, and some very good emotional moments in there, which I can't think of his name. I have to look it up. But anyways, yeah. So I think it was a decent movie, not great, but that's why I put King's Speech at number 5 on my list. Number 4, I'm putting Spotlight. Came out won Best Picture in 2015. Spotlight, very good film about looking at the crisis with the Catholic priests molesting kids, boys, and the investigative journalist in Boston, the Spotlight is the name of that group, and them getting deeper into that this whole Catholic raping kids thing is actually like a big crisis, a big pandemic in the Catholic Church, and that it's just not a thing that happens every once in a while, but it happens quite a bit. And the Catholic Church kind of covers it up, and they move the priests to different areas, so you don't know, or they don't go to jail for doing the terrible things that they do. And it's this really terrible problem that's in the Catholic Church that came out, I forget how long ago, but anyway, it's kind of covering that, and it's very emotional. It's not a very happy movie necessarily. It's very emotional because of all the bad stuff that you're talking about. I mean, the worst things you can talk about, in fact. But I think it's based on true facts of what happened, what's been happening with the Catholic Church, and I think very good performances in there. Overall, interesting storyline. I wouldn't say exactly the satisfactory ending, but I mean the fact that they cover and they get like one of the bishops to resign, and that's deals with the cover up and trying to get rid of these priests that are doing these things. And then so a very good dramatic movie about a serious subject matter, a matter that will make you angry. I think when I came out of this movie, I was more angry than anything. So it's not one that I've gone back to watch again just because of that. But very well made movie, Spotlight. So I put that number 4 on my list. Number 3, I put Green Book for won Best Picture in 2018, which is somewhat. There seemed to be a big backlash against this movie. Like, it won Best Picture, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is the worst Best Picture winner of all time." And I totally disagree. I thought it was a really good movie. Viggo Mortensen gave such a great performance as the driver, Italian driver, nominated for Best Actor. And Viggo Mortensen is so good because he plays Aragorn in Lord of the Rings as this warrior. And then you watch like Eastern Promises. He plays this Russian hitman kind of mafia guy. And then you get to this movie, and he's kind of this a little bit overweight Italian kind of tough guy. And so the different accents that he puts on with every role, and the body, the way he changes his body with each role, and it's just amazing. Viggo Mortensen's a really, really great actor. He doesn't act very often, but when he does, he's really good. I thought this was definitely a really good one. But it's a great story a true story about a black musician who's also gay, very wealthy. He needs a driver to drive him to concerts in the South. Of course, there's a lot of racism in the South, so he's not really allowed in a lot of places. And so he gets this Italian kind of bouncer, basically, that drives him and kind of protects him, makes sure everything runs smoothly somewhat. And I love the movie because of the contrast between the two characters, because you got a time period where black people are very oppressed, and a lot of poor schooling going on, a lot of poor families, black families, of course, a lot of terrible stuff going on. And so you got this guy who's wealthy. He's black and he's wealthy, so he doesn't really fit in with the black community because he's so wealthy. He dresses really fancy, and he's very smart. He has I think he has 3 doctorate degrees or something like that. I mean, incredible musician. I mean, he makes a lot of money out of, say, he's wealthy because he makes a lot of money making these albums from piano playing and concerts and so forth. He's very well respected in that community. And so it's interesting that he doesn't really belong in the white community because he's black, but he doesn't belong in the black community because he's this rich, kind of upper crust guy, wealthy, fancy, so it's interesting to look at, he doesn't fit in either world, so who is he? So he's kind of got this depression. Also, he's homosexual, which also homosexuals are looked down upon at this time. And so, of course, he couldn't come out of the closet. He had to stay in, had to be a secret. And so there's a lot of, inner turmoil going inside of him, which is very interesting. And then he contrasts that with the other character, his driver, who's white. He's Italian. He's got this big Italian family. He's married with kids. very good, loyal, very good family man. Curses a lot, while the other guy does. I say curse. He doesn't curse terribly, but he, kind of uses inappropriate language somewhat. While the other guy uses very articulate language. So they're very different. Education-wise, he's not very smart. The driver really isn't like a real educated guy, while the musician is very educated. So it contrasts they contrast so much, and the fact that they're two different races too plays into it. And so that's all very interesting. The relationship that they, of course, during the movie they become friends, as you would in the movie, and it actually has a very good ending with them having Thanksgiving together. Anyways, and so it's a really wonderful, feel-good movie, I felt like, and had some good comedy in it, good drama. I think, yeah, very excellent movie. Green Book, definitely. I think it's a movie that's underrated. So that's why I put it number 3. Number 2, I got 12 Years a Slave, Best Picture 2013. I mean, what an incredible movie about, a guy who, based on a true story, a guy who gets kidnapped, and he's a free man. He's black. He's a free man. He gets kidnapped, forced into slavery, even though he's not a slave. He's a free man. And as it says, he spends 12 years as a slave, and of course, you see all the terrible things that happen with him. Chiwetel Ejiofor, I believe, plays the main actor, and he's very good, very deserving Oscar nomination. I mean, best performance I've seen of him. Really enjoy his acting. Then the girl, I think Lupita Nyong'o, who plays another slave, she wins Best Supporting Actress. Very good performance from her. Very emotional performance that she gives. Anyways, of course, it's slavery, so you see a lot of bad stuff happening. Black people getting beat mercilessly and treated terribly, and him surviving all of that, and the way that he gets out is so great and satisfactory. Even though, I mean, obviously that's got to haunt you for the rest of your life, going through that situation. But the fact that he gets out, was a great moment, and trying to get back to his family. But yeah, it's a really hard hit look at slavery that I think. And it's hard. Slavery movies are very hard. In fact, I haven't watched this movie again, even though I think it's a really good movie. It's hard to go back and watch that movie again just because of all the terrible stuff that happens, and to be reminded of all that happens, in real life in our history, and But I'd say performance-wise, excellent across the board. I think that's why I liked it so much, and of course, you're rooting for the guy to get out, and so that keeps you going throughout the movie to really. And so when he does get out, it's such a satisfactory part of the movie. Anyways, and I give that spoiler because it happened in real life. So it's a book that came out that they made the movie off of. Anyway, so yeah, so I say 12 Years a Slave, good for at least one watch, I would say. Deserving the Best Picture there in 2013, number 2. So number 1, my favorite movie of the Best Pictures of that decade. I'm just going to go with a short title called Birdman. There's a longer title to it, but it's ridiculous. Just Birdman's good enough. It came out Best Picture in 2014. And it's such an interesting movie, wonderfully shot. One of the most unique shot movies I've ever seen, where it's just full of just one-take shots, which are very impressive to do, where the camera just follows somebody for a long period of time without cutting at all. And it's just such a unique way of this movie. And it's a really strange movie, I have to say that. And I usually don't like strange movies, but the acting is so good. I mean, just amazing. Again, the main actor, now I'm forgetting his name, I think should have won Best Actor for this film. He is such a good, which I never knew he was that good of an actor. He's always kind of a comedic actor. Did Batman back in the late 80s or early 90s. Not really known for his dramatic work, but man, ever since then, he's become a really great dramatic actor. And I'm doing bad by not remembering anybody's name on top of my mind. I don't have anything with me right now to remember it. And somebody will say, "Oh, so-and-so," and I'll go, "Yeah, I know who it was. I just couldn't think of it." Of course, the movie follows this guy who, it's almost kind of meta to real life, where it follows this guy who used to be a movie star playing a kind of Batman-type character called Birdman, and now he's trying to be a serious actor on stage. He's doing this play that he's kind of producing, and there's this ideas like, oh, he's trying to prove himself as an actor in this movie, and then the actor in real life seems kind of have a parallel story in real life to the character he's playing, which is very fascinating. And then you got this kind of strange. He starts believing that he really is Birdman, or he talks to this Birdman character, which is like his alter ego that talks to him, kind of imaginary friend, and then he moves things with his mind, but then you don't know, is that really happening or is that all happening in his mind? Anyways, he's almost kind of going into madness a little bit as he's preparing for this play, and you see the rehearsals and all the way to when they do the play itself, and he has Emma Stone, his daughter, who hates him, and they get into fights, and she yells at him and stuff, and yeah, very interesting story. In the ending, you don't know what really happened. It's kind of leaves you ambiguous. Like, is he dead? Is he alive? Is it all in his mind? You don't know. I like to think of a good ending, that he's, that everything was a happy ending. I guess I like happy endings, so in my mind, I think everything happens just the right way. Anyways, and that's why I feel that maybe it happens in his mind. But I just love the one shots. The continuous shots are just so amazing. That's why I love about this movie so much. Is there's scenes where like you follow someone through a hallway as they're talking to somebody, and then as you're following that person, all of a sudden the camera takes a turn, and all of a sudden they're following another person, and then it takes another turn. It's like without cutting, and it's like, oh my gosh, like we haven't cut in a long time. Like, it's amazing. And I love, like, there's one scene where the shot is on Emma Stone, and she's like saying these horrible things to her father, and we never cut back to the father's reaction. We only see Emma Stone's reaction, and somehow that makes the shot like even more interesting to see after she says her things, that then you see her reacting to his reaction, so you kind of get an idea what he's reacting by her reaction, and it kind of makes the scene even more interesting and dramatic in that way. That I really loved. And there's like, scenes where the camera just stays on one point and nothing's going on, and all of a sudden people come in to the camera shot, and you're like, oh, it's like, what are we looking at? Oh, okay, here's some people coming into shot. I don't know, it's just a very unique style of making a movie that I actually really enjoy. That's why I gave it number one. It's not a movie I watch very often because it is such a strange movie, but man, performance-wise and directing-wise, it is just an amazing movie. I think it's worth a watch. So that's Birdman, number one movie on my 2010's Best Picture list. And so just comment on what you think. What was your favorite Best Picture of that year? And what ones you liked, what ones you didn't like. I'd love to read comments and comment on the people I forgot their names. I know I forgot everybody's name on this one. But anyway, so just thank you for watching and subscribing and supporting this channel. And I really appreciate all of you. Have a good day.